Today, we're breaking down a really critical event, the Nigeria data breach story of 2026, and what Sterling Bank, Remita, and an attacker named ByteToBreach can teach every single business about security.
So let's get right into it. You know, the wildest part of this whole story isn't the sheer amount of data that was stolen. It's how easy it was. The attacker didn't need to be some kind of super genius. There were no complex firewalls to bypass. Nope, they just walked right through 3 wide-open doors that should have been locked from the start.
So who was this person who could just walk in? Well, we're not talking about some ghosts in the machine here, some unknown entity. No, the attacker has a name, and a pretty public one at that. ByteToBreach. And make no mistake, this guy is a professional. He's been on the scene for years, running what you could call a hack and publish business. He lists his victims on his own public leak site, and then sells their data on underground forums. And here's the kicker. His claims get verified. When he says he's breached a company, the security community takes him very seriously. Okay, so that brings us to the first massive, wide-open door. This one was found at Sterling Bank. And you're probably asking, how did he get in without a password, without some crazy complex exploit? Well, the answer is shockingly simple. He found this thing called a Swagger file, just sitting out in the open on a live server. Now, what even is a Swagger file? Think of it like a blueprint for an app. It maps out every single function, every little detail, so the development team knows how it all fits together. It's absolutely essential for building software, but it should never, ever be accessible to the public. Let me give you an analogy. It's like a chef leaving the entire restaurant's recipe book. I'm talking secret ingredients, cooking instructions, the whole shebang right on the front counter for any customer to just walk up, grab, and read. The attacker didn't need to break into the kitchen. All the secrets were basically handed to him on a silver platter. So armed with this blueprint, he sees this exposed function called /API/getUserByUsername. He simply started asking the system for user data, and the system just gave it to him. No password needed, no authentication, nothing. And the result? Wow. Access to nearly 900,000 customer accounts and over 3,000 employee records. We're talking bank verification numbers, passport scans, everything.
But it gets worse. He didn't stop there. Just 4 days later, ByteToBreach announces he's now inside Remita, which is basically Nigeria's financial backbone. He pulled this off using a technique called lateral movement. Imagine there's a shared unlocked corridor connecting 2 high-security offices. Once you're inside one, you can just stroll right into the other one, because they have this built-in trust. And what does he find inside Remita? The second huge mistake, a misconfigured cloud storage bucket. Seriously, just think of a filing cabinet, unlocked, sitting in a public hallway, with a big sign on it saying super secret stuff inside. I mean, it was that bad. And this cabinet, it held a mind-boggling 3 terabytes of data. Now, a lot of this was your standard, but still very sensitive ID data, which is bad, right? Really bad. But what he found in that unlocked cabinet, this is what takes it from a serious breach to a potential national catastrophe. Hardware security module keys, HSM keys. Look, leaking names and emails is about privacy. It's terrible. But leaking HSM keys, that's about the fundamental trust of the entire financial system. These are literally the digital master keys that sign and authorize transactions. With these keys, an attacker could create totally fake payments that the system would just accept as legitimate. So this whole mess forces us to look past the how it happened and ask a much more uncomfortable question, the so what question. What does this really tell us about the security of the country's most critical infrastructure?
Just think about it for a second. ByteToBreach was noisy. He wanted everyone to know. He announced his breaches on public forums. But what if the attacker wasn't some guy looking for a payday? What if it was a quiet, state-sponsored group? They could have used these exact same open doors to get in, map the network, and just sit there, quietly, for months, maybe even years. Completely undetected, just mapping out the country's entire economic infrastructure, waiting for the right moment to cause chaos.
Okay, that's the scary part. But here's the good news. Defending against these kinds of attacks doesn't always require a multi-million-dollar budget. A lot of the time, it just requires being intentional. So let's talk about 5 practical steps that any business, big or small, can and should take right now. All right, first up, create actual security policies, and then, this is the important part, actually train your people on them. Second, Enable multi-factor authentication everywhere. Seriously, just do it. It's one of the most powerful, simple defenses you have. Third, use free open-source tools like Wazoo to actually see what's happening on your network. You can't protect what you can't see. Fourth, this one is so simple. Set a recurring calendar reminder to audit your cloud storage every single quarter. This one step could have stopped the Remita breach cold. And finally, number 5, limit what your partners can access. If a third-party app only needs one tiny piece of data, then only give it access to that one piece.
Look, these weren't some genius-level hacks. These were basic mistakes that left a nation's financial backbone completely exposed. And the lesson here is crystal clear. Security isn't just about fancy, complex defenses. It's about locking the doors you already have. The full breakdown, including the complete attack chain, regulatory response, and actionable recommendations for businesses of every size, is available on my website at kennethnorum.com. The link is in the description below.